Let's get it. You can't hear me. Hey, that's even better. Welcome to Visual Disturbance. But no, it's fine. But yeah, welcome everybody. We're going to be talking about ChatGPT today, artificial intelligence, and how it'll take over and everything. And then I hit that mute button earlier. But yeah, hit that like button. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm just going to go from there. But yeah, welcome everybody to Visual Disturbance. I'm your host, Brian Reese. Sorry about the little hiccup there, but we are rolling. I just wanted to give everybody a shout out for my sponsors. Miss Ann, I know that you liked the post I just posted up on Facebook earlier. So God bless you. And I hope all is well. Let's go check out Shake and Wake Radio if y'all get an opportunity at the network. We appreciate you, Miss Ann, and hope all is well. And also Joshua Watts Leather. Go check out his stuff. Me and Josh will be together this coming week. I won't be putting much up on my channel because I will be with Joshua and away from the studio standpoint. So yeah. And then also, if you haven't checked out the Milkman cups, your Milkman Nephilim Chaser mug, go check it out. The link is in the description. And then also I have a t-shirt. Just can't make this stuff up. Me and my little converted over milk truck from a Nephilim Chaser vehicle, the satellite dish on it. Go check it out. Super epic stuff. And the other day I was getting ready to do a live channel or a live show on my channel the other day, but I put up like a 15-minute segment. I wanted to just kind of tell you all a little bit of information, what I've seen, what I've been evaluating when I get out, because I don't get out much. But sure enough, yeah. So we had an experience the other day and all that, but go back and check that video out. It's very small, but very short video. But today, just can't make this stuff up. I had to talk about this because of the takeover of all this stuff, the GPT. If anybody doesn't know what ChatGPT is, it's been out since November of this last year of 2022. And honestly, I don't really know where we're headed with that. Thanks for everybody in the chat sticking with me where I didn't have any sound. If you're just now joining, about 10-15 seconds worth of audio, I didn't have any sound. But that's okay. But yeah, welcome to Visual Disturbance. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button and subscribe button. And if you're not going to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Just hang in there, and I hope you enjoy what I have to talk about today. So, but yeah, this whole ChatGPT thing, I want to talk about it, evaluate it, kind of come from my perspective on where we are in our reality. One would think, you know, if this was back in my day when I was a kid, you know, we had, even in the age of the advancements, I remember floppy disk very well, on a floppy disk narrative, IBM computers, etc. they wasn't even hooked up to internet because there was no internet. So, and what there was, it just wasn't implemented out to the public. But I remember very well that they was interconnected in a a computer lab setting and all that. But we'd always play what was that? What was that game they always play? It was like a little wagon game or something. It was some type of, I can't remember now, but anyways, some kind of penguin game and something else that used to be for entertainment purposes or educational purposes. But anyways, just can't make this stuff up. So I was thinking about it today, and I was like, I'm gonna do a random broadcast and kind of redeem myself, because I was gonna go live the other day, but I just took and recorded a 15-minute segment. But today, welcome to the Visual Disturbance. Hit me up on all the things, the links and everything at the bottom of the description, but all the stuff at the bottom of the screen here that you see me on your TV or your media device. Go check out my coffee page. The link's in the description. You'd be glad you did. I really would appreciate if y'all could share this thing out. It would really help build up the channel if y'all just share out the broadcast, and I'd be very, 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 very thankful. And hit that like button, subscribe button. I would be very blessed by it. So I thought about it real logically and critically, think on all this stuff, the aspects of all this, where we're headed, where we're going in our society. So I wanted to kind of take this off real quick and kind of chime in, and I'm going to show some things. I got some show and tell, some articles and stuff to read. But I'm going to bring this up. So I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about man's, when he was created, what we're here for. The Almighty Creator created us for all kinds of different things, special abilities, all kinds of gifts we have. And this chatgpt thing, we've had this analog system, so to speak, that we've had forever. I was referencing a few minutes ago about no internet or no capability of anything as far as technological savvy, just besides dial-up phone, no dial-up phone or anything with telecommunications or anything like that. Heck, I remember in radio, radio with A tracks and everything. Like I remember when I was a kid, I think it was Randy Simmons. If you're watching, man, you're gonna kick out of this. But I remember John Anderson. I remember my mother and father had a old A track. It was called Just a Swingin'. I'll never forget that A track. Had these two cowboy boots. Anyways, little bit of humor there, but a little crazy. But yeah, I got my hat all sideways. That's the kind of mood I'm in today. I just did that on purpose. But yeah, I remember all this stuff in telecommunications and technological so-called advancements, record players, etc. It seemed like it was all advanced. Rabbit ears, if you know what I'm talking about, with anyways frequencies of black and white TVs. A lot of people don't understand that now, especially when the newer generation has no clue what a black and white TV is, nor do they know that you used to be able to have a portable, literally you could use AA batteries and have a portable TV with an antenna like it go about 2 or 3 feet up in the air, and you literally have a mobile TV device. It would pick up just local channels wherever you was at in your local area. It would just baffle my mind. I remember, I don't know, I was always a child that would learn differently, and I'm still learning. even with the visual problems and all this stuff going on in my head, I'm still learning. But yeah, so I just remember seeing things a lot different. Some people even recently, you're so analytical. I'm like, I don't like to talk about myself in that light, but that's what some people say. But they're like, you're so hard to understand. But it just a little inside humor there again. But anyways, so I remember all these things that's happened, the advancements. All these gigabytes, terabytes. You got megabytes, kilobytes, all these different things. Anything, even when I was a kid, I remember going and playing on a black and white TV and playing like Nintendo, Atari, etc. All these things, and I remember going out into the woods or out in the hayfield and playing or doing something productive with my time. Well, I want to know y'all's thoughts on this. So it's like, am I the only one that is even thinking about this stuff? It's like, the GPS, for example, all these advancements, and I'm thinking one thing. Whoa, hang on a minute. Like even back in the day, I remember even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I had these. Excuse me, I had these thoughts. I'm like, huh, what is this? Like, what's going on? You know, like I always question things, and I still question things. And it's good. It's good to ask questions. It's good to be a critical thinker. I think that's important in today, especially in today's society. But my point is, this whole chat GPT thing, the analog systems that we have, what I mean by analog, this whole, now we're in a digital realm. You know, the Google narrative, all these different things, we can type it in and get information, etc. You know, including back in the day, we used to get old slides, you know, the old projectors in the libraries and stuff when you was all in school and everything like that. You know, all kinds of different, all kinds of different stuff. But one thing that I wanted to bring up today, I had this thought. I just couldn't brace it any different. I said, why is there information that you can go find that goes against, I mean, it's like 200, 300, 400 years ago, that goes against the narrative that what is it today? Like these are in, books, writings, and everything. And then what's even more baffling, you'll have the information that you have to do a lot of digging on the World Wide Web. So is it a control system? Like, is there, because to me, I'm thinking they only want you to know what they give you. So it's like, and I'm not going to mention and get into it, involved in that, because I don't want to get into a controversy, especially on this channel and everything like that. But the powers that be, who and what and how, and this advanced so-called technological advancements and all this stuff in civilizations back in the day. And I want to get into that real quick before I start doing my show and tell narrative. Well, if you have Indian cultures talking about stuff that's under the ground, these giant heads that would talk and speak, and they would all tie back to the Anasazi and the ant people, one would wonder if it was an AI capability or some type of antediluvian or technological advancement that in today's society we would probably, let me reframe. Back in the day, they would bow and say, wow, you just gave me knowledge. So guess what? Probably 5 years ago they wouldn't do it, but now they're doing it. There's robots, there's all these things that supposedly have these ancient, I'm not putting in any cultures, by the way, or anybody, I'm just making a reference. I'm not going to mention any particular names or to the societies, but there is particular groups right now that are worshiping robots that supposedly have this ancient deity that has embodied it. Go look it up. I'm not going to reference it, what it is, but you can just type in robots being worshipped or something to that aspect or whatever, and click that and type that in. And when you have that going on, that baffles me to the hilltops. So here's one thing that really got me, and I'm not putting down any kind of setting of anybody, any shape or form, but when you look into the biblical narrative, it says trust no man. So what's so baffling about it, we are getting into this realm where there's a lack of living word, that we're reading the literally holy scriptures that come down from the heavens, God's inspired word. But not only that, we have bodies, assemblies that are teaching all these random narratives, but then on the backhand of other cultures in the same time lapse, whatever you want to call it, same time realm, same time frame, we have people that are in other countries worshiping robots. But let me tell you something. When somebody tells you over and over again, and you ask critical thinking questions like I have in the past, that's all figurative. But Brian, you think too much. Wow. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to point anybody out or any kind of organization, but you think too much. So guess what? They're no longer going to think. They're going to click. That's what we naturally have been conditioned. So the people that was telling me that, it's all figurative language. You shouldn't read this or read that, or you shouldn't read the words in the biblical narrative that way, because that's all figurative language. Yes, there is parables. Yes, there is figurative language, but the specific questions was not the answers are blatantly there, but you're telling me it's figurative. So when you're telling somebody that, you're saying don't believe, don't go into the Holy Spirit driven narrative. Like, okay, let's test the spirits here. Let's get with the biblically sound strength of the Bible and the Holy Ghost driving you. That's all figurative. You don't know what you're talking about. You think too much. Well, guess what? That same thing is being regurgitated and told to other people. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to take out their device. And when they start having mistrust in the particular people that they're following, guess what? Welcome to the realm of artificial intelligence. And they're going to search for matters, and which will they will get entangled into the I guess you want to call it the, I hate to use the word, but matrix narrative. And they will lose faith in the things that they should have faith in because of all the tools that are being manipulated and not used in the proper manner. And I know I get fired up on this particular topic, but hey, welcome to Visual Disturbance. And just can't make this stuff up. I'm kind of lively today. I'm feeling pretty energetic. Shout out to everybody. Thank you, Ray, for coming on. I didn't notify you, and you've been so kind, and you're on here moderating. God bless you. Hippie Hebrew Homestead, Jamie. That Bermuda Triangle might pop off one of these days. I don't know when though. But anyways, so get on this topic. So this whole AI component. So if somebody tells you you can't do this or can't do that, so what if the AI narrative will teach you the wrong narrative? What if it does teach you the good narrative? What if it gives you a little bit of spoon of sugar, and then it turns around and gives you nothing but let's use the word of burned out motor oil, and you mix it all together, it's not going to be a good combination. I don't know why I just said that, but hey, welcome. There's the Kentucky flavor to that. But I mean, if you get my point, I think everybody gets I hope you understand what I'm getting at. You can't, it's just not, I just don't see how, I mean, I get it, these things can be used for good, but guess what? I had this conversation the other day. When you see, like, okay, for example, if you have a car lot and you are enticed to see a more highly advanced, let's just say, for example, well, I'm never go to these car lots, but let's just say there was a Lamborghini in the car lot, but you had this old, beat up 2001 over in the corner. Probably not, but anyways, it's got 200,000-300,000 miles on it. Smoke's coming out the back. It's on fire, and you literally go and you're like, that's all I can afford. It's $5,000, whatever the narrative is. But you go in debt to get the Lamborghini. So you're enticed when you see the Lamborghini. You get caught up in your pride, get caught up in your fleshliness. I've been down that road, not in the Lamborghini aspect, but years ago, I used to ride a motorcycle, and you think, well, look at me, look at this cool bike, it's shining, it's, I'm gliding through the air pretty much. Seriously, in some cases, that's a long story in itself. But you puff that chest out, you get real weird about things, and the sin starts, you get all crazy. You get all crazy with it. You just get consumed in your own fleshly things. And guess what this thing is going to happen? What I'm getting at, you'll get in the Lamborghini and you'll go super fast and break the law. If it's governed, if it says it'll go 220, you'll go 199 until when it's governed, it's stuck back. The engine's getting ready to blow, the RPMs are cranking, the whole engine's getting ready to explode. But my point is, you'll do it. Okay, you'll be enticed to do it. So guess what? This ChatGPT thing is an enticement to turbocharge the flesh. Okay, so just think about it. If we're in a classroom setting, which we are going to be talking about that here in a second. If we're in a classroom setting, right, and for example, I don't care if it's middle school, high school, whatever, and people have this capability to hook in and literally, you can do it on your phone. You do the ChatGPT thing, and literally the critical thinking is not going to be there. The original thought of your own intellectual thought process is not going to be there. You're not be able to comprehend it. So you're all going to be on the same playing field because it's spoon feeding you the same knowledge. So that's baffling me. They're selling it as a good product. Like, yeah, it's going to help with coding, going to help with cut your work time in half. Yeah, I get the advantages. I get the pros about it. But I'm looking at a truck ton of cons in the future. That's my opinion. But anyways, it's just, you just can't make this stuff up. So like, for example, I got some stuff on the screen here. Uh, they're talking about, well, there's all kinds of articles talking about this. I mean, look, we got the someone asking, or let's go here, for example. Well, no, let's go with this one. I think this one's a very interesting topic right here. And anyways, yeah, let's just try to. So this one is how AI and DNA are unlocking the mysteries of the global supply chains. Okay, so think about this for a second. Like, look at it. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, and they're wanting you. This is a very, very controversial one to talk about. Let's get out of this. All these ads and stuff. But anyways, I'm not even going to read it because it's very probably get me into trouble, but I will kind of vaguely go over it and summarize it. But the point is, it's talking about a DNA, let's just say TRACKING and artificial intelligence that are going to be blending together for this narrative. Okay, so what we got here is a breakdown of, well, first of all, let's not get into the denial state here. People will say, well, there's this, there's that, the yes, there's a creator, and there's all this stuff. There's all this horrible, dark stuff when it comes into people's theologies and people's they're just not literally depending on the one and almighty God. So the thing is, I sit back and think about this with this whole narrative. You hear about the Anunnaki narrative about, they took man, spliced it, and all this stuff, whatever, and create a different type of being to mine gold and etc. And then at the end of the day, what do we get? And then this is what I bring up, and especially a lot of my broadcast. This right here, this one. Let me see if I can find it. This verse right here. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and there bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And what baffles me, and a lot of people in the chat here, and a lot of people that follow my work and stuff, and well, everybody I'm associated with, let's just get real here. So in Enoch, it talks about the giants, and then there's when they perish, their bodies, their spirits, it roams the earth until the great judgment. They're tied to the earth, and people today think, well, that's not real. That don't matter. I get this. I get a lot of negative feedback, especially literally in my world around here where I live, even into a family narrative. But I love my family, and I will fight tooth and bone and whatever teeth I got left, and whatever the narrative is to that event. I will try my best to keep spreading what I can. But it gets a little aggravating sometimes, but I can't get discouraged. But my point is, if we're created, well, let me reframe. When we're here for a reason, and all this time, I have grandparents, great grandparents, ancestors, the Indian culture, people. I mean, literally the ancestral DNA. It's in my well-being, into my core. All those things, all those events, everything that they strive for, and everything that God got them through, everything that it doesn't matter if they was fishing, to hunting, to cutting down a tree, to trying to build a cabin or shelter or a teepee or whatever. So you mean to tell me, in this, where we're headed in today's society with this artificial intelligence to make things easier, or even to the point of let's just say we're going to iron and clay. Let me use that, iron and clay combining. Which will not happen. But what I'm getting at is, I'm trying to be very choicey with my words here, but iron clay bonding is not going to happen. But my point is, so you mean to tell me all that stuff, all that miraculous miracles, y'all heard me the other day on spiritual warfare. I always think about this. If even if my ancestors did not believe in the doctrine of Jesus Christ, literally the Word of God, the living truth, the Word that came from the heavenly heavens, the heavenly realm, all those things, even if they did not believe, I'm talking about thousands, I don't care, thousands, 5,000, whatever it is, whatever the narrative is, and they did not believe and they perished. God knew that I would be born in the time that I was born, and even though he's fruitful and multiply, he allowed them people to be fruitful and multiply, so we could live and then shout to the rooftops and literally shout Jesus' name off top of a high mountain or whatever, off top of the car hood, whatever the narrative is. We would always be shouting to the rooftop, like we are born for this time. We understand it. We especially my generation, we have both sides of the realm. We understand hard work, good work ethic, being able to literally cut the ground, till the ground, do all kinds of stuff. And that's what I'm saying. The critical thinking thought is going to be gone. They're going to say, you need to do this. And then I already see it, how it's implementing into the society with the younger generation. It's almost like I can't do something unless something tells me. Like literally a robotic voice tells me to do it. That blows my mind. I'm baffled to the highest. I can't even explain how I feel about that. I mean, you see all the movies and the term, the stuff with, Iron Man, Jarvis, and all this stuff. That stuff is literally here right now. And what I'm getting at, though, is all those generations, all those years, all that history of the family tree, we're in their head. This is where we're headed in our society today. And everything in my well-being, everything in the core of my vessel is shouting, like saying, please, and don't do it. Use it for only so far. When I mention analog, I mean analog. I'm only going to go so far. I can just touch it like on a remote control car. That's as far as I'm going to go. My point is, what is that? And why is nobody saying anything? Like, I have never in my life I've never even understand. Like, I don't even understand. Like, I don't understand anymore. I don't get how nobody will even question reality. And they say this is that everything is fine. That right there, just blind on all fronts. And I'm not trying to put anybody down. And when I say those words, it's like, well, you're making fun of something. No, I'm actually saying, because I really am worried and concerned. It's not a thing. Well, look at me. I'm puffing my chest out. I'm driving a Lamborghini. Heck no. That's not nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that. I just, man, let me get a drink of water, y'all. This is bad. And, like I mentioned all the time, I have Indian traits in my bloodline. This is just crazy to me. The Indian culture was just, I love the history of the Indian culture. I love it. I think it's amazing how they survived thousands and like they could just survive. Today we couldn't even, if I said go build a chair out of the tree, chop the tree down, manufacture it, I would have trouble doing it. Well, limitations with the head stuff going on my vision, but if I had assistance, I probably could be able to navigate through it. Excuse me, I'm not boasting, I'm just saying. But when we have arrived to that point where it's like, well, we'll just Google it, or we'll just look at this, or we'll look for other knowledge so I can render this and replicate it in my reality. Well, I'm sorry, but the things that I learned years ago and all these things just with trial and error, and then I guess it's the critical thinking mindset, or maybe, well, actually it was a God thing, driving me to a point saying, don't depend on when somebody says, well, you need to do, like this angle because you need to look at this and this is what the computer says. You need to critically think to come up with a logical to implement something on the fly, because it could be detrimental to, like, seconds could be, I've seen things like that when I used to work. Quick thinking decisions would be like a life and death situation scenario, right? And yeah, even though my accident was a millisecond, and that's a whole long story. But if you're just now if y'all just now just joining me on visual disturbance, Not gonna get into that today about what happened, all that stuff, but God bless you all. Whoever, if y'all can go back and look at some of the work I've done, I've explained a little bit about what happened in my past. But anyways, my point is all this is to understand who we are, and I don't get too much into the whole history of our family tree thing, but my point is these people, even if they didn't know who God was or anything to that effect, these people could go out and engineer something without even measuring tape, without even a mathematical legit, like y'all. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. They would do something by just like instinct, and it would be just a miraculous. I've seen people do that. Heck, before I got hurt, I used to not use a measuring tape either. we do a lot of look. Coming from a milkman perspective, there's a lot of things that I rigged up that really did work for a long period of time. We just can't give you a time expiration date or a warranty on the rigged up milkman engineering. But anyways, I could go on a big tangent about this stuff all day. So I'll bring up another one. So like here's another one. This one's like for example, here's this one. This is the one. Let me pop it up here if I can. Okay, so Google to add artificial intelligence chat feature to search engine. Okay. So I see where we're headed with this. So the ChatGPT thing, GPT it's only been out for so long, since November. So it's become so advanced so quickly. Now they're having to integrate it into everything. So what's that? And you see my 15-minute segment video that I did with the just talking about the thing that happened to a hardware store with me and my uncle, and then the whole 6 months thing that Elon Musk was doing he had like 1,000 signatures to put a stop, like for a 6 month stop, because the artificial intelligence thing was going to be off the chain. It was going to be detrimental to mankind. So my point is this knowledge comes from somewhere. If you have this, if the GPT thing has the artificial intelligence chat box, right? And there was a gentleman, it was some other country, unfortunately, no joke, I'm not going to really talk about it much, but there was a gentleman that ended up doing something to himself because the AI told him to. Okay? No joke. So that alone in itself should be so hang on a minute, Brian. So what, you're all over? No, I was kind of taking you when we're talking about Enoch and the Genesis 6 narrative. There's literally a demonic demon that an embodied spirit that has no more vessel to embody, that was a fallen. We're talking about Nephilim. We're talking about the giant narrative, and this is my opinion. There is a narrative to this intelligence. The intelligence just doesn't say, well, 2022, we're just going to miraculously start, all of a sudden inundating all this into the society, which in fact, all this during this whole thing and this whole transition to this chat GPT, one would think after the alien mothership that they've been projecting all over the media, you would think all this stuff just seems like it just all fitting like a glove, that there's not a coincidence. But one will think, well, Brian, you're just, once again, I will hear people criticize me and say, you're just thinking too much. Well, my question is, and I'm not trying to put nobody down, I never have done this. I try to keep my tongue suppressed and not say anything. For anybody out there that does that to somebody, have you thought? Like, do you put any thought into anything? Do you think? That's my question to anybody. Do you think? Or do you just say this is okay? To me, that just baffles my mind. I can't even process it. And I'm not trying to put nobody down. It's not a put down. Like, could you think? Could you critically, logically think about what you're telling me before you just regurgitate something and say that it's good? Or can you tell me? and they can't. They just it's. I really do pray for people in that. I've dealt with people like that all my life, and it's just really kind of getting we're to that point of just yeah. And I'm gonna still pray. I'm gonna still pray. Okay, so and on this next one, I have a GPT. It's to do a G. Okay, here it is. I mentioned education a while ago. This one, this is actually. I'm gonna try not to show that because it's coming with a piece of artwork. It's to do with MIT Technology Review. I might be able to. I'm just gonna pop it up there. I'll pop it up there. They put it out there for consumption, so I'm gonna put it up there too. So here we go. All right. So this article says ChatGPT is going to change education, not destroy it. Okay. The narrative around cheating students doesn't tell the whole story. Meet the teachers who think generative AI could actually make learning better. And then I'm not going to get into it because I'm trying to watch what I put up. But my point is for the title, and then we can talk about this. Once again, I mentioned it a while ago. Who's pulling the strings and who's saying what is knowledge and what is an educational aspect to teach the people or the kids or whoever. So that's what I'm saying. Once again, if I go back 300 or 400 years ago, I find very detrimental knowledge that can be used for to 2023 today, but you won't teach it. So who's teaching? Who's suppressing that teaching? So this is what I'm getting at. So we won't teach. Real things to do with we'll throw little tidbits of information. I always call them the golden nuggets or whatever, but you'll see like the Space Force. Yeah, I'm throwing out big names today. You'll see stuff like that. You'll see the 3 later agencies throwing out stuff, and it's like all secretives to a point, and all this weird stuff. Doesn't make any sense. So it does make sense, but I'm just using that as the wording for today. But it does make sense to somebody, but they defragment you so much that you can't even comprehend. Could I take a breather? Okay, no, that was my breather. One would have to understand that this stuff is ancient, and people will say, "Well, Brian, it never happened before," because guess what? You can go look this stuff up too. People don't realize. I mentioned Anasazi. The ant people and stuff. They talks about the little gray people. The ant people are literally sometimes compared to the gray aliens and all this other stuff with this whole narrative. It's insane. But my point is, are we really going to play ourselves? Right? We're really going to play. Like literally, we're going to play off and say, well, this is the way because this told me to go this way. But they're literally everything in your core and everything in your mind. And you'll hear this too. You'll hear about the worship gene that's in our brain. You'll hear about this. You'll hear about people on big talk shows, big podcasts that talk about this worship gene that's in our brain. And y'all know, some of y'all that's in the chat, y'all know this is all they be playing. They be playing. And so this whole thing that's a whole nother dark topic. But what I'm getting at, they're trying to every angle, everything is like, it seems kind of dark, and well, it is. There's a lot of dark and demented things going on in our reality, and people think that stuff. I literally have people around here, and I'm not trying to put nobody down. They literally still think that everything is just, it's fine. We're 2017. We're back on the horse. There's nothing happened. I beg to differ. And for this technology and stuff to be implemented into our society, and they think that, well, this will be an improvement. Well, go tell that to the antediluvian. Go look that up. Antediluvian. Go look up at ancient civilizations that had technological advancements that triumph this ChatGPT. How about that? Go look at Project Looking Glass. Get that. That'll probably get me a little flavor on here. Get this, everybody. No joke. Y'all wouldn't believe this. I'm gonna mention it on here. I've been losing subscribers. No joke, you all. No joke. I'll gain 2, lose 10. No joke. And I don't know what that is. And it's probably because I talk about some controversial topics and bring up three-letter agency, and just probably what I just said a minute ago about Project Looking Glass. No joke. No joke. Project Looking Glass. Yes, I got my hat on sideways. But I might just turn around here in a minute for the broadcast because my head feels like it's getting ready to turn around like a swivel. But my point is to this whole thing is we know that we reside, we have a place that we can reside at when we leave here, where there's many mansions. We have a place that we will exist after we leave this what I'm talking out of, this temple, and everybody that's interacting on the chat. And it's baffling my mind to do with anything to do with all kinds of let's just say I'm trying to word it right, word it correctly. Well, I can't because I've already said Project Looking Glass, but there's just certain things that are tying all together with the spiritual realm, and people don't understand that. They can't grasp it. They say that stuff don't exist, Brian, because they'll say some man told me that it was figurative language, that the demons and stuff don't exist because that man told me. And that really reflects their life. They believe it because they've been told 10,000 times, and then they will do that their whole life and discredit any kind of spiritual application whatsoever. That what was his name? Gordy Rose, I think is his name. That come out of CERN to do with the D-Wave computers. He blatantly come out, and that's old footage. Blatantly come out and told everybody. Blatantly said it, like with no restraints. Was talking about, he said some very choice words in there, which I don't repeat because I don't get into the cussing narrative. I just don't do it. You won't hear me do that. But my point is, he's talking about the crafty old ones are coming back. So let that resonate. I think it was like 2012 or 2014 we made that comment. That's like 10 years ago. So guess what? 2017, a lovely magical craft shows up supposedly, and says, and throwing out these pod seeds, something like off of some type of whatever type of film or movie or whatever, and people expect. I don't know, guys. I don't know. And then they act like they don't know where this stuff comes from. They act like it just doesn't, And I think it has. And I'm gonna say on here too. There's people dropped off on the chat. Well, y'all come back now. But no, seriously, I think there's an Antichrist. I'm gonna throw it out here on too. Might as well. There's an Antichrist system narrative with this chat GPT. That's just my opinion. Let's get into some more articles because it stinks. It stinks. And then we can go on a big conversation. I could sit here for hours talking about this topic alone. It's just. There's no, you could go on for this and on and on and on. Here's one. This one, real quick, let me pop it up. This one, someone asked anonymous AI to destroy humanity. This is what happened. It says, I hate the ads. I'm so sorry, you all. But anyways, it says someone. Let me get that off there. Chaos GPT has prompted to establish global dominance and attain immortality. This video shows exactly the steps to do. No joke. And I'm not going to read. Like I said, there's certain things on here I just can't read because I don't want to get hit with anything. But yeah, it's baffling. But and then sure enough, there's some kind of ad coming up to ask me to sign up for something. But anyways, speaking of that, let's see if it'll stop doing its thing. It's acting all silly again. All right, there it is. Okay, go. There we go. Having a little bit of it. It's all good. Little blimp there. Little wrinkle in tech issue there. But anyways, I seen a thing the other day talking about little Furbies. Remember the Furby characters? There was some girl. She took the chat GPT software, or however you want to call it, the artificial intelligence. And let me get that off there, see if it'll stop. And when she did that, no joke, she used a Raspberry Pi. What a Raspberry Pi is, a single board computer. I fooled around with them years ago. The point is, she changed it into English language, and the Furby was talking about how it was they're literally to infiltrate humanity and all this stuff. So a little bit crazy, a little bit off the wall, but who knows? It all could be just for show. But the point is, people are using the chat GPT, and it's literally getting the ball rolling, so to speak. It's just pretty wild stuff, you know. And it's like, when you think about Terminator series, you know, that whole thing, John Connor, you know, and all this stuff, and you can't make it up. The Skynet narrative. I'll tell you my flavor on this, and the whole metaverse thing. I think about Jude. Let me pop it up there. I think I got that up. I think I do have that up. I think about this verse right here. If I can pop it up. Here it is. I think about this verse. And the angels which kept not their first estate and left their own habitation, he have reserved an everlasting change under darkness until the judgment of the great day. Jude 1:6. And then I'm gonna, while we're change gears here, before I change gears, I'm gonna talk about this. When it says this in the scripture, it talks about angels leaving their first estate. I always go back and I think about certain things that I've seen on an archaeology standpoint, and to do with the serpent, and to do with the portals, and anything to do with it's almost like what we're talking about here in the chat GPT. It's almost like they had some type of way beyond that, and it's just pretty daunting, really. I mean, really daunting. So, and they would talk about certain things, and even in the Indian culture, I've been looking into Americas here. There's so much stuff, and a lot of it reaches back to the Atlantis narrative. And man, could you imagine? I mean, just could you imagine the stuff that once was? There's nothing new under the sun. You know, what was? Real quick here, let's see. This other one, let me see if I can pull it up here. There we go. This other verse here, when you have, I can't pull it up. Oh yeah, Ephesians 6 verse 12. This whole thing here, people get really bent out of shape when you mention this verse. They just get tore all pieces. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Where do y'all think the high places are, and where do y'all think all this stuff is playing out as? And when you go into Mark 5 in the biblical narrative, and it talks about the legion that was inside the man, and he was cast over the mountain the legion was cast into the swine over the mountain, and then it's just, so I really do think, get to really the kind of narrow it down here. My point is, when we're all on the same playing field with this whole chat GPT, and it's all incorporated and integrated and all this stuff, my point is there going to be an outside source of knowledge, but not this knowledge, is what I'm saying. Yes, there is, because we already have it. We just have to implement it into our reality. We already have it. It's already been written. It's already, understanding is already there. We just have to incorporate it into our being, incorporate it into our reality. I mean, it's crazy. And even this stuff here, even if we want to get into a secular standpoint, we look into Samaritan texts and stuff like that, which I'm not saying and promoting that, but my point is, they triumphed. And the Samaritan and the Atlantean whole narrative with all that, it triumphs all this. Even in literally the days of Noah, before the flood of Noah, I really do believe, because there's in a day with so much evidence of robots, with cogwheels, with all kinds of ingenuity. There's all kinds of things under the ground. Plugs, cords, advancements that we couldn't even done until like 70s in some cases, in the 1970s, in the 19th or in the 20th century. So I really am, this right here is like, when I see this stuff and I think about it, I'm like, this is nothing. But when I think about what we have, everything we have has already been given. We can understand it. We can critically think. But the critically thinking and the original thought process and the intellect and the IQ has been depleted on purpose, so we can't understand what we got, and now we're going to be setting up shop with this new. Am I wrong? That's the way I feel about it. It's setting up shop. What was that? I'm not even going to go there. I might get hit with something. I was going to say stop, drop, set them up shop or whatever. Whoa. Yeah, we woeing all right. Yeah. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, that's just where we're at, everybody. So, I mean, I'm going to go on a little bit more here. So I might go all the way up to spiritual warfare. How about, no, I'm just kidding. I ain't going to do that. Let's see, there was one more I wanted to pull into the broadcast today, and I have misplaced it, but that is okay. No big deal. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the one right here. This was 2 days ago, if I can get it pulled up. This one right here alone is pretty wild stuff. And we all know where it's headed. Let me get this camera to stop doing its thing. Hey, waving at the camera. ChatGPT AI lists jobs it can do better than humans, as millions could be put out of work. And then it goes on talking about replacing 4.8 million U.S. jobs according to a new report. Yeah. And I'm not going to really talk about it. I'm trying to stay real kind of out of the articles because they say some stuff that I just don't want to bring up on the channel that might get me hit with something. So, but yeah, so riddle that one to me. So here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at. When you're blankly running around like zombies and you're not thinking of anything, you're not thinking. There's no like process in any shape or form. And it's like if you're at a place, and God bless you if you're at a place, they come over the intercom and they tell you that you need to, it's time for like some type of checking station or something like that. And I've been hearing some stuff. It's just, I'm not even going to go there, but there's certain places that are literally saying certain words, and it's like, when did that happen? And I know things change. I get it. I mean, we was in the horse and buggy and camelback and horseback for like ever. I get it. Industrial age, I understand. There was a lot of jobs that went. There was displacement. I understand the displacement of jobs. I understand how that all worked when you had a person like the horse and buggy gentleman that would go back and to and fro and take his family or whatever, or be like a taxi driver. The taxi comes and takes his job. I get it. I get the whole concept. But what I don't get. Here's what I don't get, is when you have autonomous vehicles and literally hovering vehicles, what you would call a Vinama or a craft back in the day. But then we go to horse and buggy. Hello. And then we get a taxi with oil and gas, and it breaks down in just a couple years. But the Vinama and the aircrafts, or whatever you want to call it, the levitation to the vehicles that we all know that is what they're projecting. But this mothership thing in the sky, we all just sit back and say, well, that's just the way things are. That's all. No. Let's not be complacent. Let's not just take what has been told and let's just run with it. Literally, don't get into cognitive dissonance state and think before reacting to somebody else's theory or their opinion. Think. Don't click. Think. But I didn't even check the chat. I can't even see it, but I will here in a second. But Y'all are probably all telling me off, but that's okay. I'm just kidding. But seriously, what I don't understand, I really don't understand that. And there's another question. I've asked this a couple times on other platforms. How did everything get backed up? How did everything get backed up, just miraculously backed up? Like, just think about articles, tablets, slabs of concrete, all kinds of stuff. How did it all just miraculously, and you're like, well, that's a data collector. That was somebody collect. Huh. Huh. Man, they must be typing a lot. And they must know how to get there and take the picture. Because, and I get it. I'm talking about in the 90s. I'm talking about like 95, 96 or something to that effect. You could actually jack into the internet and find documents. I'm just saying. They wasn't around that long enough for them to be able to pull in. There was all kinds of stuff back then. So once again, I will come to the reaction or the reality that CERN was active. So anybody wants to get up with me on that, it was active. So yeah, Diesel Doctor, I just seen you popped up in the chat. I've never seen you before. Welcome. Yeah, welcome to the Visual Disturbance channel. Today it's just a discussion on ChatGPT. I haven't done this for a while. It's feeling pretty good. I haven't done it for a while where I go live and I really just pour my heart out into what I'm really thinking about here. So yeah, welcome. But yeah, so we have arrived to a point to where our ancestors would be ashamed of us, and I'm talking even predate. We can go farther back if we want to get into the before Egypt. We would be, even if they didn't believe what we believe, our ancestors would be literally just ashamed. That's the way I feel about it. That we could not process and use the land that God made and make things and use and be an engineer. Even if you don't have a degree or anything, like literally use your mind. Don't let that suppress you. Do it. Try things. Enjoy things, you know. But we have arrived to a point where we will just walk around it's maybe I'm just too old school. Maybe I'm just I think about that movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey in it, and his dad was saying, man, you're born too early, he's born too late. Maybe that's what my problem is. I'm just being silly. Maybe that's what's wrong with Brian. Maybe just born too early, born too late. Oh. That's my little inside humor. That's like the third time I started cracking jokes. Well, maybe fifth time I started cracking jokes on here. But yeah. And that whole movie alone, there's interdimensional portals and everything, time manipulation, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so time portals, time everything. Probably ChatGPT will probably be doing that here soon. Probably go to your local instead of power station, your portal station. And that's a little bit more sarcastic. I'm being a little sarcastic today on the broadcast because this is I get really ill, and I get get a bad taste in my mouth when there's people that know this stuff is being implemented and infiltrated our life, and they're kind of laughing that we're taking hook, line, and sinker, it's a controlled system. It's a controlled system, and I'm praying about it, but I know there's nothing. I know we physically can't do anything about it, and I know it's something that has to be, but I'm not going to sit back and not speak about it. So I just think it, and I'm not trying to go against the grain and get into conflict of any shape or form. I don't care what it is, if it's a robot or a human interaction or whatever. I'm not getting into a conflicted nature, but I'm just saying that this can't be good because it's not. It's not. How is it helping? How is it helping when you have to sign up and pay a monthly service for it? Ching, whatever. What do I know? What do I know, y'all? But yeah, I'm gonna jump on this chat. I'm gonna jump on the chat and see what y'all are talking about over here. If I can get the chat to pull up. It's a little behind on my end, but that's okay. Oh yeah, there's some new. I know there's some new people. I've seen the people pop in. Got some new subscribers. I appreciate you all being here. If you're just now tuning in, I've been rambling on about the Chat GPT. I will mention this one thing. This is a serious thing here. What if just I said it a while ago talking about the angels, talking about referring to the biblical scriptures of the Jude, the angels left their first estate. There's this whole uptick of the metaverse and all this stuff, What about just hypothetically, just throw us out here. What if the metaverse is a thing that's already pre-existed? Because we're talking about something to the point of like, okay, it's already established, everything's good and everything rolling, but then you look into when you look into ancient agriculture, heck, you can go to agriculture too, archaeology, and you look at this stuff and they talk about gateways and portals. So what is that? So that could literally just be a new term, metaverse. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. A new habitation for some people or something to reside at. So just think about that for a minute. Critical thinkers out there in the YouTube world, just think about the logistics of all that and think about what if it was legitly a thing. And that's when you look into the Indian culture and Egyptian and all this stuff, and it talks about these serpents and these underworld creatures and these above beings, these sky beings and all this stuff. What if it is something to that point where there's something that has already been built up and they're trying to jack us in? And that's why I'm saying when it comes into these the DMT stuff and all this stuff that's been propagated and everything. I'm not going to get into it. I don't get into a conflict with that. But what I'm getting at, it seems like that stuff is being popped up in our realm and a lot of topics and stuff, and a lot of medical stuff into that degree of it. But anyways, there's just some things that just doesn't make any sense to me. So when you see that narrative and is there something to that? Well, that could very well be what they're going for. I really do think that, and this whole component, all this stuff, the attributes of us, all this set up with all the advanced so-called technological advancements, and then they're looking into the narrative of people being like, taken, abductions, and all this stuff, and there's never nobody showing up. I got a really cool broadcast I'm gonna be doing here soon, talking about a story to do with Indian culture and talking about them lifting the sky up with these trees. We're going to get into that one other day, someday down the road, probably next week or the week after. We're going to be kind of busy going back and forth to, I'm going to be going to Indiana, and then I'm going to be traveling with Joshua and them to the meet and greet. So yeah, hope to see y'all there. If y'all are going to be coming, we'll be glad to see you all, meet everybody in person. I'll be looking really forward to it. And then Dan Bedoni is coming down from Rhode Island, and we're gonna duke it out. But yeah, seriously though, on a serious note, what if these things, because you look into the narratives, they drop in these little golden nuggets, like I said earlier, talking about like we could look at the plasma, proton, all these accelerators, all these different things, particle accelerators, hadron colliders, and everything has a purpose. Everything intertwines, working like a network. It's like a full-blown productive machine. So I'm trying to look at all that, look at it, and really compile it all into one package deal. So I think with the supercharging of this Chat GPT, there'll be things that man will be able to advance in. But once again, it comes from a place. It's not, man did not come up with this Chat GPT. Yes, we probably programmed it, or we might have helped it along, assist it, but I think it pre-existed before, and we just slap a new name on it, and it starts to show its intelligence, and it just pops up. It's probably no telling how long it's been around. That's what I'm saying when I got back to the Anastasia narrative and talking about these giant heads that are under the ground where they used to worship and touch it, and literally it give them knowledge. And it goes, and I can go on a big rant. I mean, I could talk about the narrative with the bless you, hippie Hebrew, more SFX and milk trucks. Oh man, I seen your post. She's cracking me up, man. Twisted Metal. But anyways, I seen all these, you know, you start looking at all the history and stuff, right? Let me wave my camera there. A little bit of hiccup there. But anyways, a little delay. That's okay. That's what happens when I start having fun. Start talking to chat. It starts to get distorted. But hey, that's okay. It's been a good broadcast. It's been an hour in. But anyways, yeah. So let me see if I can fix that real quick. One moment. Let me get on here. Let me get. I'll show a scripture real quick while I do that. If I can find it. Yeah, this one. Maybe that'll fix the hiccup for right now. I can blame you, hippie Hebrew. You got me off my. No, I'm just messing with you. Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there's no new thing under the sun. And that's why I'm saying, like, everybody, when we start really critically thinking and thinking about our history, what's being spoon fed, what's being took away from us, what's being taught to us, and then we turn around and say, well, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Yes, it does matter. It absolutely does. Let me put palm print to the monitor there. I was trying to get the camera to stop doing what it's doing, but it's still doing the thing it's doing, but it's okay. Let me see if I can fix it, but it's fine. I'm not going to let it get me down. It seems like every time I do like a really good broadcast, I have some type of tech issue, but hey, and you fine tune it, you get it all tuned in, and you're like, man, I've got it going, then bam, because you're talking about some controversial topics, and they don't like controversial topics, and they think that they just don't want me speaking about these things, I guess. So we mentioned the chat GPT. We mentioned we didn't. Let's see, like, here's another one. Just on this one, it says industrial economy greets the AI, a generative AI. Excuse me, my throat's getting dried out. AI solutions promise to modernize the economy by replacing its historical manual ecosystem with future fit arrangement. Probably because I'm not on the thing, and there's some other stuff going on with other things, but I can assure you this. No joke. Let me see. I can assure you this. Let me pop this one back up. That I know from a industrial production standpoint. My own father worked for a company for a long periods of time, and just until the last few years, they started incorporating, literally incorporating, all kinds of autonomous robotics. Okay, so a lot of interesting stuff. Can't make it up, and then it would make it more so-called for production and for speed, I guess, if you want to call it. But in my opinion, it takes out the human factor, and then you have mistakes because the human wants to freely think, free will, freely understand, and have 10,000 ways to figure it out. Which that's how I would think. I'm not boasting. I'm just saying that's how I would see it. I need to know like if I'm learning something, like if I'm learning a skill, I want to understand what I'm getting myself into. I knew the ins and outs. I knew the motor. I had to learn the motor. Whatever type of vehicle I was driving, I had to understand. And if it messed up on me and there was no other way, speaking of hippie Hebrew, if there was no way for the truck to go and I had to rig it up to make it go, I would make it go. See, but the thing is, I'm wondering where our society's headed. Because if you can't do stuff like that and make it safe on your own and use your own intelligence that God have given you, that makes me, I really am kind of like heavy-minded about why and how and where we're headed as a society when we can't use our own knowledge that has been placed in our own frame of mind, our own brain. How can that be implemented and rendered if we don't show it? But here's the thing, this chat GPT and all these things that are being, I think it's going to displace us. I think it's going to displace us to a point where we won't be able to process like we used to process, because we're going to be more lenient and dependent. We're not going to be dependent on ourselves. We're going to be depending and leaning on another avenue, another way to understand. And I think, and it could be easily manipulated. But anyways, a little bit going down some rabbit holes today, throwing out some big names. I think that's why my camera's starting to freeze up. But hey, welcome to visual disturbance. You're not having a visual disturbance, a little bit of distortion, but hey, you just can't make this stuff up. And no joke, I'm gonna leave it up where it's at because it seems more stable now. Since we're just got this article here of the ChatGPT taking up all the jobs. I heard this just recently. Was it 2025? I heard the statistics on that it would be. I heard it. I kept hearing like 1 billion jobs or something. That would be from like 1 billion across the whole earth. That's what I kept hearing by 2025. If we can't supposedly put that 6-month stop to it, it's going to take it and tank it, so to speak. And I don't know where it's headed. I mean, I don't get it. But we'll see. We'll pray and we'll see where we're headed into this reality. But another thing, there's another YouTube channel that I seen the other day. There's some of the viewers. I seen some of the people in the chat here. He does a really good job on AI and everything. He was talking about. He mentioned a thing where this gentleman had a hat, or not a hat, but a excuse me, had a some type of exoskeleton cap that he made. Like I think it had like neuron, like the little sensors on it to basically use ChatGPT to like it would look like the Cerebro what's this called from Xavier from X-Men, but it's very that was very surreal. I think about that a lot whenever they talk about ancient there's ancient things, people, telekinesis, telepathic capabilities. And if you look back at the you can go back and look at some 3-letter agency documentation. They talk about these specific things where they have the capability to bend metal, spoons, etc. The whole thing with the telekinesis, telepathic stuff. It's insane, right? So I think that goes to show you, and I'll say this one more time, that we are more than what we've been told. Our everything in our core, our whole being, our whole temple has more than what we are being taught. I wanted to bring that up. We have been talked down to where we can't understand what we are. And I think there's some certain special things that God has he's slowly showing people. And there's gifts that I will never have, and there's certain gifts that some other people be extraordinary at, because that's just they're blessed to be what they are. So my point is, though, is I think it's very just, I mentioned this before on other broadcasts talking about when you put a computer together, you can literally damage the circuitry. You can damage the CPU. You can damage. They call it bricking, like bricking the. It won't work no more. It's like a brick. It'd be a little humor there. But anyways, my point is when you're doing that, you got to be it's a very complex thing to be able to put a computer together. My point is we have dominion over it. So that at the end of the day, after during this broadcast, if you haven't got anything out of it, what I'm saying is don't let it take you over. Don't let it take you over. Like you have everything you need to exist on this realm, in this realm. And I think it's very detrimental that we keep that. We don't get laxed and we don't get lazy. We need to feed our mind with the word, with biblical knowledge, and feed our mind with actually stuff that we can, gardening or forging, forging the ground, or being able to master a craft of some shape or form, leather work, talking about Joshua Watt's leather, cut down tree, be a carpenter, be a mechanic. You can do it. Let's go. That's a whole nother topic. There was a video somebody sent me the other day, totally off subject. There's this guy, he goes, "Let's go," and he's like this guy. He looks like the size of me, and he can like lift and like deadlift like hundreds of pounds, and he's like just an average size guy, and he can. It's just, anyways, little off the topic there, but he go, let's go. But yeah, we going all right. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the broadcast today. Hippie Hebrew's cracking me up with all this commentary about my milk truck. If you haven't seen his post on Facebook, it looked like a 1929 armored vehicle with like a cannon and everything come out of it. It was pretty eventful. If you can get that lined up and put a V10 motor in it, all shiny and stuff, and restore that to its original, we'll slap some stickers on it, Hippie Hebrew. If you can make that happen, man, and get somebody to drive it for me, I'll sit in the passenger seat and I'll play the Broken Down Milkman song and throw out stickers and hunt down the Nephilim. And I might need a cannon if we got a 15-footer coming running at us. But yeah, might need one for the mothership. We might just be it might be low tech on the shell, but the all high advanced V10 motor in the inside, advanced equipment on the inside. A little inside joke if you haven't joined the Visual Disturbance channel. A little bit of my humor, but I'm gonna pull this. Let me pull the chat up real quick and give everybody a shout out before I jump off here, because I want to thank you all. Chocolate Milk Friday. We don't. Craig Wolf. Hey, guess what? They don't have Craig Wolf. They don't have chocolate cows in it. They don't make chocolate cows, man. They don't exist. I had somebody one time argue with me that there was chocolate cows. No joke. Like I said, they don't make chocolate cows, but oh man, Chocolate Milk Friday. Paint cans are cool. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, shout out to everybody. Mercy on us. God bless you. Any chance in your damn room. Let me tell you, oh yeah, Hippie Hebrew West Homestead, Wisconsin. I've been to Wisconsin one time, and this is like 2015. I had back then, that was when I was still driving and healthy. I actually took a trip up there, a commute. I had a daughter that was in archery, and then they won nationals up there. They actually went to Wisconsin, so it's the only time that I touched your ground up there in Wisconsin. So yeah, cold milk cows. Jason T, DC Cooper, God bless you. I hope y'all enjoyed the broadcast today, and I thank you for all y'all's attention, your great comments. I always get the best chat. Everybody's always kind. And I'm very thankful to have you all, seriously. And everybody's always just sharing everything out and being such a blessing. Jamie hanging in there and reminding me every day that Bermuda Triangle is not happening. That's part 2. I made the mug. The mug's in the merch shop if y'all want to buy it, but I haven't made the show. Oh man, that's so funny. And then KWG podcast. Yeah, shalom. Yeah. Oh man, Miss Sherry was way up there at the beginning, and then Psalms was at 91 up there at the top. But yeah, but if you're close in the proximity of Nashville, Tennessee, coming up the next few days, and you're coming out for the meet and greet, I'd be glad to meet you. So don't hesitate if you're in the chat or if you're watching this future broadcast this weekend, and you see me, don't hesitate, because I'm very easy to approach. I'm not going to just cross my arms and roll my eyes. I'm very approachable. I act the same way that I do when I'm on this camera. So I'm not gonna hide anything. I'm literally, hey, how you doing? I enjoy meeting people, and it would be a very blessing, and it would be very just awesome. Just in general, I love fellowship. I really do love fellowship. So if y'all get out that way, hey Brian, can you Isaiah 40:22? Hey Brian, can you ask Dan to do a quick video on Good Friday? Yeah. Our link on his channel, he's already done. Well, tonight we are going to be talking about on the Spiritual Warfare Friday. But we've been having me and him have not been able to, we've been so busy and stuff, but I will try to ask him. Let's see here. Ray Collins, thank you so much again for moderating the chat. It has been a blessing, and it's always a blessing to see you on here and being so kind to me. I tried okay, I'm like reading everybody's. But yeah, and welcome everybody that's new, because I see a lot of new people in the chat. So yeah, and thank you all for your time and being so kind. Seriously, I can't thank you all enough. Thank you for everybody that donated. God bless you all so much. Seriously, It helps a lot, helps the channel out a lot. And I'm going to try to continue doing more videos here. I've been having a few things going on that's what's kind of kept me from not doing certain things that I want to, but we're going to get back on the horse here soon and make it happen. But I'm going to be on here with Spiritual Warfare tonight, and but I will be really tied up this week. But yeah, but I will try to put more stuff out, and because I enjoy the live streams. I always enjoy interacting with everybody. Oh, real quick before I get off here, I just had some people drop off, so I want to tell everybody. The email that you can reach me at is at the bottom of my description. Reason why I'm saying that, because I had a lot of people say, I can't get a hold of them. There's no email. There's an email at the very bottom of the description of the every video I do in the last 5 months or whatever. It's on the very bottom. Real quick, I want to do this. I can only do this with y'all's help. The only way that I can do this show, that I'm waiting to try to see if I can implement it and pull it into the channel. I wanted to talk about random photos or random footage, video footage. Thank you, Miss Ray, for taking the initiative and putting the email into the chat. Because I'm a terrible person and I didn't put it in there myself. But thank you for being such a kind, very kind. I thank you for doing that. Miss Ray just put the link in the chat. So here's the thing. So I wanted to do a show, and I'm gonna try to do it like every week. And I wanted to do, if you all have like anything to do with Sasquatch, aliens, whatever. If you see a big old flying spaceship, if you see a milkman with milk truck driving down the road without a driver, if you see whatever type of anomaly or anything that's comical or funny, but I'd like to keep it on the subject matter with the giant narrative. If you see a big old tibula or a femur sticking out of the mound or something, please stop by and take a picture. If you see a car going uphill in reverse, please stop and take video footage. If you see a Vinama land and crash in your all's neighborhood, please take footage and send it to Visual Disturbance. If you see a chocolate cow, Craig, if you see that chocolate cow, please try to get it, because it's probably the only chocolate cow ever existing. But seriously, on a serious note though, send me some footage, photos, in which your all's if you all, with your consent, if you'll let me pull it up and like maybe just put your first name on there. If you don't want it to be and want it to be anonymous, I want to do a full-blown video, like every week, doing something on anomalies and Indian mounds, mountain ranges. I don't care what it is. If it's an archaeology standpoint, if you see, I don't know, if you see a mummy crawling down the street, whatever it is, if you see a zombie, whatever the narrative is, if you see a pterodactyl, please don't take a picture of it. Try to get it on the ground and then take a picture. But all these things, that would be great, and I really want to work on that and do it. I don't know what the name of the title of the program will be on the Visual Disturbance, but it'll just be incorporated into Visual Disturbance, and I really would appreciate that. And I would just be, that's kind of where I'm headed with that, and I wanted to do that, and because I kind of got the idea whenever I did the UFO that I accidentally filmed in my skies. I kind of got the idea of being inspired to see if I could ask you all to pull it out, and I'll do this whole, I'm working on some things in the back end, and we can really just have a really cool broadcast and interact with the chat. It's like, I'd be like, Hippie Hebrew, what'd you send me? I'm pointing you out, but did you send me a truck or whatever it is, a truck with a Sasquatch in it or something like that, and have a good time interacting, and or whatever the narrative is. If you see He-Man's sword from Masters of the Universe, if you see a Stargate portal, whatever the narrative. I know I'm ranting. Y'all get the point. And I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me this whole entire time. And but anyways, I'm gonna get off here. Hour and a half in. Bless you all. And go check out the links in the description. Go check out the coffee website. Go check out the merchant store, because I love my Milkman. Definitely a Milkman Chaser mugs. I guess if Hippie Hebrew comes up with a really interesting truck, if he forges, and if anybody welders out there, mechanics, if y'all can collaborate some type of truck and drive it for me, we'll all meet up in the middle of the United States or something. We'll go Nephilim hunting. How about that? But until next time, y'all have a blessed day. And thank you all for tuning in to Visual Disturbance. Brian Reese, I'm out of here. But shalom, I think. I think I'm out of here. I do it every time, you all. It's so funny. I look. I love this. I just love doing this. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a blessed Sabbath too. Shalom.